Welcome to Sprague Homestead, and welcome to 2023. That's a hard one to say. I'm Kanan.
I'm Nikki.
And this is what we're going to do this year, if we have anything to say about it.
We usually don't. Okay, let's see. Where do you want to start?
Start with the big thing we're going to do immediately.
Well, probably the big thing that we are working on immediately is cookbooks.
Cookbooks and worksheets. Two things.
The worksheets are actually done, or at least the first ones are done. So I will have Kanan put a link up here. But I have had people asking for a few years on the rabbit stuff, how to do pedigrees, like their own pedigrees without a program, how to track different stuff for rabbits. It's particularly for 4-H kids. I've had a lot of that, but just people who have smaller herds. Most of us that have 20, 30 rabbits plus will take the time to buy a program, and I have kin tracks and whatnot, but it doesn't work for everybody. You know, if you've got like 5 rabbits and you need to keep track of stuff, it's hard to know what to track and what not to track and what's worth it. So I did some worksheets, and they are available through our Teespring website. They're pretty cheap. It's like $2 for each template. And it's an immediate, if I've got this figured out from spring, it's an immediate download. So you pay for it, they send you a link, you go and you download it, and then you can print whatever you need. So there's a whole bunch of different ones. Some kind of overlap each other depending on what you're doing. So if you're interested in those, make sure you go through and really read them and look at them. To see which ones you need and what you don't. Because, like, the health record, the overall health record for a rabbit does not include breeding records or show records. So if you need those, you'll need to buy those templates to go with it. You'll kind of see. If you have questions, you can email me at srhomestead@yahoo.com, and I can walk you through those. But those are done. I'm kind of working on some chicken ones, and I'm trying to figure out how to do a nice worksheet on talking about mixing feed, but that one I'm still struggling with just a little bit. So those are done. Last year in 2022, we got our rabbit cooking cookbook. Ugh.
Cooking with rabbits.
Cooking with rabbits. That got done in February. Well, I had a lot of people asking me for recipes that, one, are for canning because we can a ton, but also just general stuff like, we do a lot of quail. How do you cook quail? So we are working, and I say we, he's my editor and my taste tester. Yeah. So he does have his part in it. So I'm doing some general recipes, just overall homestead stuff. You'll see a lot of recipes in it, the Homestead cookbook, that focuses on stuff we actually grow and do. And so you'll see quail recipes, some other rabbit recipes, chicken, because we do chicken, and turkey. But I get into some stuff like rhubarb, because there's not a lot of recipe books that really go into rhubarb. And it's one of the things we grow really well out here. So, all kinds of different stuff. So that one I'm hoping will be done in either February or March. After that, the canning book, which is a whole other entity by itself, the canning and preserving book will probably be out May, June, depending on how the weather goes and how my spring goes. So 2 cookbooks. Hopefully it won't take me 2 years. But this time I know what I'm doing. I've got the formatting done. They're started, they're going. So if there's particular things you're looking for, feel free to drop them down in the comments or send me an email. We're hoping to actually do another cookbook next winter that is going to be a lot of goat cheese and goat meat type recipes. But we aren't there yet. That's a little ahead of what we're doing. So that's the first things that we're working on while the snow and rain and cold temperatures are still out.
Yeah, some of the things I think we're going to do prior to spring really kicking off and getting warm enough to start gardening and do other things is probably to finish up a lot of the interior house project we started. Now, we mentioned in our 2022 video that we did painting inside. We've bought the flooring. We've done started our sunroom and our mudroom. We've shown those in previous videos of kind of the building the structure of them, siding, the doors, etc. And I finished up the painting on the exterior this last couple months. Really, I mean, it seemed like it took forever, but we finally got it done. One of the interior things we need to do is now we have a large stack of flooring. We bought some laminate to go down in here to
Not
replace.
laminate.
It's not laminate.
It's vinyl planking.
Vinyl planking to go down.
We need a dog proof.
Yeah. So we will start the process of doing that. And of course, being mucky outside, you don't want to send the dogs out for the day to roam the neighborhood, essentially, while you're doing stuff in the house. So we're going to go, half of a room at a time. It's
going to be miserable.
It's going to be miserable, but it's kind of one of those things you only do once a decade, hopefully. So we'll do that this year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because we're basically going to move half the living room over, pull the old flooring, which the old stuff is a Stainmaster kind of a stick down vinyl. Not a true stick down. It's like I can't remember what it was called, but it was a precursor to what they're doing now with the lock and fold vinyls. It's okay flooring. Neither one of us like the color of it. But the big thing is it's worn out to the point where it's actually turning
Slick.
White in places, and it's slick.
Right. Yeah.
So we're having trouble with a couple of the dogs running through and sliding, which is no good for hips and knees and all the rest of it. And then I've slipped a couple times in the house now. So time to get some better flooring.
Mm-hmm.
We got it on sale. Got it on sale at Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Got it all ordered in. It's over 600 square feet of flooring. My knees are not going to be happy about it. But the nice thing is the old flooring peels up pretty easy. It's basically stuck to itself, not like the other stick peel flooring. It sticks to itself, so it's a floating floor. So as soon as you can peel it away from itself, it pops right up. So at least it will be easy to pull up, but we'll get that done. I've got some painting, and if we can get the flooring done, we can actually put trim in the house because there's never been any trim on any of the windows or doors or baseboards or any of the other stuff. So I have my hands full. Probably, I'm hoping to have all of it done by gardening season, which here's May. Mm-hmm. So going to be a busy next couple of months.
Yeah, and then going as Nikki said, we're going to get to the gardening pieces. We had two of our geodesic domes. That is always hard for me to say. Geodesic domes that are made out of PVC pieces, which is 1-inch conduit, and then you've got your 4-inch big Schedule 40 hubs. They've worn out over the last few years. We've had some hubs break in the wind, etc. And finding that material, the big 4-inch Schedule 40 PVC hubs, have been difficult. So we're going to kind of combine up what we have into one good greenhouse and get that going again. Fix the Harbor Freight one.
I think I've got a plan for to get the second one fixed. But yeah, domes are coming back this year.
Mm-hmm.
The Harbor Freight greenhouse lives to tick me off because I went through and I fixed everything that was broken this last year, and it looked great. And there was 5 or 6 old panels, the original panels that were still kind of holding on, and they were in great shape. And I was like, yay! And I got that stupid thing done, and not 3 weeks later, every one of those stupid panels blew out. Yep. Every one of the old panels. So I was out of new panels, had to order replacements, but the place that we order them from by then was in the spring rush, so we didn't get them till like July, August, which was okay because we heated up pretty fast. So I never did actually get to use that greenhouse this last year, but we will see if we can get it going. Now for hatching this year, as usual, I turned the incubator on in April. I'm not going to nationals this year, which for Harlequins is not until June anyway. So we'll do some hatching this year, but it's going to be light. I'm going to do a few hatches and see what the market looks like. But past that, it may just mostly be for us. So hopefully we'll have some geese if that goes a little bit better. I brought in some pheasants, so we should be hatching some pheasants this spring. quail again, my Wyandotte chickens, the turkeys. We kept some young turkeys, so we should have some extra turkey eggs this year. I brought in some Muscovy ducks, was really excited about them, and lost both of our hens this winter in the sub-zero temperatures. So both of our drakes, we had 2 drakes, so we are eating them, and I may or may not go get some Muscovies and start over, because I really wanted to do them, but at least this group was not meant for us, I guess. Yeah. On the rabbit front, I'm getting ready to start breeding again. The herd is down considerably. We have 75 cages, and I think I have 20 sitting empty right now, which is huge for us. Usually we have all of that full, plus the overflow, which is another 20 cages. But with the cost of feed, we cut way, way, way back. And then we lost a couple older animals this winter, so sitting kind of low. We are bringing in some silver fox this spring, though. I've had a lot of people asking about them, and a couple of my girlfriends are showing them. So I'm going to make an extra breeder. So that'll give us 3 rare breeds in the barn. The Silver Martins, Silver Fox, and the Americans. And if another friend keeps pressuring me, I might end up with a quad of lilacs, too. So we'll see about that.
And one thing that Nikki had mentioned about hatching, in the years past, we've always bought Cornish cross meat chickens. We've done that multiple years. We tried to do it for kind of a commercial deal. One year we did 100 of them.
Never again.
Yeah, we'll never do that again. Last year we did like 25, I think it was, maybe something like that.
No, we ordered 25 birds altogether. 15 like Cornish 15. And 10 of the Red Range or Red Freedom Ranger or something like that.
Yeah. Anyway, this year we are not ordering birds. We are going to do everything out of the birds we have, out of the multiple breeds of chickens we have. We will hatch and raise our own. Hopefully,
I kept Freedom Rangers.
Right. So
we'll see.
We'll see how it goes this year. But this year is going to be all kind of a DIY, if you want to call it that. We're only going to do our own stuff this year. We are not buying anything outside. She's going to get some rabbits for a different purpose. They're not for our own personal consumption, but we are not going to raise commercial chickens, commercial turkeys, commercial pheasants, any of that stuff.
No.
It is all either coming out of here or it's not.
The shopping list for this year for critters is really short. So it's just a few rabbits. And I might pick up another Nubian doe this spring. Hopefully one in milk. Simply because our herd is so related. And now we've kept a few doelings out of the new buck, so we'll be able to breed back to him a little bit. But our herd is getting really old, too. We were looking through them, and a lot of them are like 10 years old already. So time to bring in a little bit new blood. So I'm looking around for a Nubian doe. Nothing registered, nothing pedigree, nothing fancy. I want homestead reliability. Mm-hmm. Needs to milk and have a good enough structure to produce meat, and that's it. So kind of looking around for that. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on with the critters. And we do have the goats hopefully being bred right now. The Nubians, we moved the buck just a couple days ago, so we're really late, so we won't be having kids until June. But we bred all the Nubians, and the biggest kinder doe, we actually put her in with the Nubian buck this year. It wasn't worth moving the kinder buck to breed one doe, and we're giving her younger sister the year off because she's a smaller doe, and just didn't bounce back real well this year. The Nigerian dwarves, we are probably done breeding. Everybody's getting a little on the older side anyway. They aren't selling in our area for nothing. I don't want to spend the money to go to pedigree and registered stuff. It's not worth it to me. So we're pretty much just going to continue to use the smaller goats for our mobile goat program, where we use them to keep the sagebrush and stuff under control. But other than that, we're pretty much done with them. We're just going to stick with the bigger goats. And then our kinder program. We have 2 does and a buck, and then we've retained one doe. I have a really nice little kinder buckling that I refuse to go get registered, but if anybody wants one before I banned him.
Yeah. So now as we get into spring or summer, some of the things we need to pick up from the last couple of years is fencing. So we did a lot of the exterior fence of the main 20 here in our goat fencing that we bought. We have a couple extra areas that we need to shore up a little bit on our south side. It's our main entrance anyway. We need to readjust the gate. We want it to be a little bit more cross the driveway versus angled as it is based on the property. Need to fix that, do a couple other things, and the big goal this year is to put a lot of barbed wire up on fence posts we've already put in to keep range cows off of our back meadow. Now, it's been extremely wet this winter. We've had about upwards of 30 inches of snow. It's been hard to tell because it's kind of come and gone. That's about half of what we've seen in past years. It's not that bad, but I think if you've watched all the weather reports of Northern California with the atmospheric rivers coming in and flooding them out, that brings us the rain also. And I couldn't tell you how much we've had in rain, but it's been a lot.
Well, the week after Christmas, they said we were forecasted for half an inch of rain, and the locals, just 3 miles from us, some of them were saying that their rain gauges were reading anywhere from 1.25 inches to 2.25 inches. Which I believe, because we actually flooded up into the mudroom just a little bit. There was so much water coming past the house, it actually seeped up under around a door, which didn't hurt anything, but
right,
it was kind of like, oh wow. And Kana got some water into his shop and some up into the barns. And so, yeah, crazy amounts of rain. This is more rain than, this is my going into my 10th spring here. And this is more rain than I've ever seen, moisture in general, but rain for sure this time of year. So very soggy.
Yeah. So what that means is our property drains all back to our north side. It all goes north into this meadow. And back there we have acres of grass that we've cut and hayed previously.
Yeah.
And it was after a massive year of rain, which this winter is probably going to be that. It's probably going to be green back there till May or June in there. And a lot of that last year, I actually used our manure spreader to go down there and fertilize. So, I mean, this could be, I don't want to say this is going to be a huge spring for grass and everything else, but I think with the amount of moisture we've seen and spreading manure down there, it is going to be a lush green meadow that I would really love to run some goats on, or at least keep the cows off of, because they will hang out all summer down there if they can get here and, drink all the water that's there, because we will have standing pools in some of it, and they will eat off all that grass, and I would rather use it for ourselves.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Oregon is a fence out, not a fence in state. So we are in range cow territory. So we've just got to put the fence up. We've gotten most of the posts in. There's a few places that still need a little work. And then we've got to drill and put all the wood posts in. The tough part is going to be when it all dries out enough to get the equipment in there.
Yeah.
The one year that we actually got to hay was after a really big snow year and a good melt. And in June, there was still standing water in the back meadow. So we'll see what happens with it this year. At least the good end that Canaan fertilized should come on really nice. But this is another reason we've been working so hard at training the goats to do the whole mobile trailer system. I'm going to experiment a little bit with some of the dogs, see who might be worthy of going out there and watching the goats. Because really the back meadow is about a quarter of a mile from the house. So whatever dog goes back there is going to be kind of on its own. And there is cats running around in the neighborhood again. Mm-hmm. They had a cougar killed up off of Drew's, wasn't it off of Drew's?
Somewhere up there, yeah.
A couple months ago. And there's been some sightings even on Skeena Ranch Road, which is good mile from us, really. So,
yeah. And
cats have quite a range. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, the one thing we're probably not completely sure about what we're going to do yet, and that's partly because we don't know what our neighbor's situation is going to be. If you watch any of our stuff from last year about the major marijuana grow bust on the neighbor's property last year is the classes and the hip camp. We're still undecided on that. We still have our hip camp listings. We just haven't opened up any dates. Part of that is due to weather. Usually prior to Memorial Day at the end of May, we really don't know what the weather is going to be. Sometimes it's been dry and lovely back there. Other times it's been extremely wet and cold. We've had freezes into June, which is crazy. Yep. I mean, nobody thinks they're going to go camping in June and wake up to 28 degrees, but it has happened here. So yep. We're not sure on that. And then we'll see what the neighbors are going to do. We still need to, get our road together and do some maintenance and that to get cars in and out.
I do plan to have rabbit classes. I mentioned this at the end of the 21 video. But if we do classes, it's going to be a non-refundable deposit to hold your spot, minimum of 8 people to hold a class. Because there's a lot of work that goes into doing a class. And it's really frustrating to do all that work and then have everybody cancel.
Yeah.
So it's going to be non-refundable. If there's not 8 people, we'll cancel the class. I'm looking at maybe doing a 4-H class this spring. It will not be technically associated with 4-H. I am not a 4-H leader in Klamath County this year for my own personal reasons. But I'd like to do a class more for the kids. But we'll do more on that. And then I want to do a dairy goat class later probably into the summer, since our goats aren't going to be due until June. And then a quail class. So hoping to offer more classes this year, but everybody who wants to go needs to really come through or I will stop bothering, because it's not just getting the farm ready and making a day and putting all the projects on hold. There are handouts, there are lunches that need to be planned, there are logistics as far as parking and camping and all those things that has to happen. So there's a lot that goes into it. I have to have a place to put my dogs for the day and all that fun stuff. So more on that to come as we make some decisions there.
So if you guys have any questions on anything we've covered in this video for 2023 going forward, or if anything we've kind of mentioned from our 2022 video, just leave them down in the comments below. You can feel free to ask us any questions, or if you have any comments on anything we're doing, if you have any advice, or you have any interest in anything we're talking about that we can further maybe add into a video later on to further explain. If you want to see something in particular, just leave it down below. Otherwise, we need to get going on our 2023 plan. It's already into January, and before you know it, it will be June, and it'll be 100 degrees, and it will be time to get stuff done.
Yes. And right now, a lot of my stuff is on hold because there's 2 inches of standing water in one of my rabbit barns. So I'm working on the indoor projects because all it's doing is raining, melting, and muddy.
That's right. So that's it. We'll see you next time. I'm Kanan. That's Nikki.
He never tells me. He just points at me. Yes, I'm Nikki.
We'll see you next time for Strager Homestead.
Happy homesteading.